Get real.
All right. So, programming, what is that? I don't think a lot of people understand.
What are we talking
What is it? What are we talking about? What are you talking about? So, programming, what does it mean to people? What do people think it means? Because you hear a lot of times that people say, as far as exercising, they'll just go to the gym and figure it out, or they'll just watch videos and do it, and blah, blah, blah. And then they'll do whatever exercise Joe or Nancy tell them to do because they like the way they look, they like their personality, whatever it is. It's an easier workout that they like, whatever the choice is. They never choose based on their goal. The program should be built based off your short-term and long-term goals, period, if you want success. And that carries over to anything. Would you not agree, bro? I mean, consistency is key, but the right stuff, being consistent with the wrong stuff is just as bad as failing. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
Yeah. So what do people think programming is? What I see in a lot of is people think programming is how many sets, how many reps, how much weight, how many times a week, what body part. They think that's all there is to program. But that's really not it. That is all built in based off of your goal as a whole. So if your goal was to be a bodybuilder, your program would have to be very specific, and it would have to change. If you were going to be successful over time, it would have to change because you change, you adapt. You're not going to know to do that by watching somebody else's stuff. Everyone adapts differently. Then you lose total connection of your mind and your body, dude. You will never have a better workout until your brain and your body are talking really well. You will never have a better workout. When they're fighting each other and you ain't moving right and you ain't feeling right and things just feel off, you're either going to hurt yourself or you're going to have a horrible workout. But when things are on, man, are the workouts good, dude. And I know you could attest to that. You could definitely attest
Absolutely.
to that. And programs change. That's why programs are usually around 4 to 6 weeks. Because then you can see progress in 4 to 6 weeks. And
Absolutely.
Are you keeping track of it? I'm not saying you can't keep track of it in your head. Some people are good like that. Some people can keep track of it in their head, and that's fine, especially based off their goal. If your goal is to get strong or be a power lifter or a strongman, you better write down everything. You need to know exact weights and reps and all that shit, how it felt. You want to jot all that down. But if you're the regular Joe Schmo and you just want to look good and feel good, you might be able to remember it all in your head. But you have to keep track. You have to. You have to know if it's working. If not, either you have to change it, or if you're being supervised by a trainer or whatever, a professional, you have to tell them so they can change it. That's why that communication is so important. That's why programming is so important. And if your program's not changing for long periods of time, yet that's not really a program. That's just you doing a bunch of exercises you like. And I hate to be the one to tell you that. And nobody's saying you won't gain initially from doing anything. That's what's hard. That sells people on not the best stuff too, is anything you do initially, you're going to get big gains. You always get big gains in the beginning in strength and size.
The shock factor.
Right. And
you're shocking your body to do something it hasn't done before, and it's automatically going to react and adapt.
And you're also going to feel twice as good as it actually is, just because you never felt like that before.
So, yeah. You never moved that way before. You never worked out that way before. It's very different.
Exactly. So a lot of times you get that feeling almost like the runner's high just because. It's not even due to the workout itself or how good it is. It's just because you put in the work, absolutely. I give anybody credit putting in the work, even if it's the wrong thing. Getting out there and doing it every day, I give you the credit 100%. But
Yeah.
you're not going to reach your goals, and I fear you will get frustrated and quit. And I've seen that happen so many times, bro. The leading time that I've seen clients quit is when they're doing the best. Like they are finally hitting a place where they're doing great, they're stronger, they're moving great, they're hitting weights, they're having fun, and then they'll just stop.
Yeah.
They'll either revert all the way back to where they were, if not worse, a lot of times. Sometimes they're able to keep it up, and that's fantastic. And they remember the things I taught them, and they're able to keep doing that. But again, I'm a different trainer now than I was even 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago when I started the business. I've learned a lot. As a businessman, as a business owner, I haven't learned everything, but I've learned a lot. As a business owner, even as small as my business is, I still have to deal with business bullshit. I still have to deal with the BB, the business bullshit. And when things get bad, try to keep the business afloat, not knowing when you're going to be able to do it. Having to take credit cards and use them, dude. It's not easy being a small business owner, especially after what we just all went through a couple of years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Anybody who doesn't have their business anymore, it sucks. And God bless to anyone who was able to stay open or even reopen, because that was tough, especially for my industry. It was tough. When you're in one of the things they are saying point blank, you're closing. What do you do? So I'm not going to get into all that. That's not what this podcast is about. But just to business owners, being able to do that and stuff, it's not easy. People don't realize what small businesses go through and how much better of a deal you're going to get. Don't ask me how this went off from programming to small businesses, dude, but it did, so be it. But I promise I'll bring this back on the rails. Just know what that small business goes through and how much more you're appreciated and going to be treated better by that small business than a bigger corporation. Not saying to boycott corporations, but when you have a chance, go to a small business. You might be surprised. Give them a chance. You don't like it, you gave them a chance. Nobody can say anything to you. You gave them a chance. But give them a chance. This country was built on the small man. It was small businesses is what got big businesses. Small businesses were first corporate before there were corporations. They were small businesses. So don't forget that, everybody. But anyway, so programming. I want to try to bring this in. I don't want to go too much longer. So you have to know your goal first. You have to know that. And there's a difference between a long-term goal and a short-term goal or a behavioral goal. Little things you do will have small little wins that will get you to the big win. And when you concentrate on all the little wins, your mental state is pretty good because you're constantly achieving goals. You're constantly winning. When all you focus on the long-term goal, you have doubt, you have fear, you want to quit. You have to have those short-term goals to achieve if you want to hit those long-term goals. So, for instance, this is where programming comes in. So if your long-term goal is you want to bring up your quads to match the rest of your physique, I'm going to go with that. You're going to have to program that extra work for your quads to bring them up to the rest of your body. If you don't do that, don't matter how hard you hit it, if you're not programmed correctly, you're probably going to overtrain and hurt yourself. Again, there's something to be said about lots of exercises and doing a lot of volume and just destroying with reps until that muscle can't move anymore. And there's something to be said about doing a little bit hard and heavy for a little bit, you know? And there's a way to incorporate that into your programming. Even if you're a regular person, it's like, I don't necessarily want to be super strong, but I do want to be stronger. And I don't necessarily want to be super ripped or super big, but I would like to look decent. You can't program both those things into your workout. And if you don't like an exercise, you don't have to do it. Understand what that does to your goal, but there's always other exercises, and that's where programming comes in. And when you don't change it up every 4 to 6 weeks, and you know this, dude, you will hit a wall. You will hit a stalemate, right? And you're like, what the
Usually, yeah.
fuck? And you're still hitting it. You're still trying to get that sleep. You're still getting that food in. You're still getting that nutrients in. You're hitting the gym whatever days a week. You're trying, but you're going nowhere. You're 100 and nothing, 5 foot nothing, right?
Yeah.
And for a veteran like yourself, you don't let it hit you down as much. It bothers you, but you'll pick up your big boy pants and you'll go back in there and hit it. But for a lot of people, that might be it for them. They might say, screw it, I'm done. You know? So it sucks. And then don't even get me started with high school. Poor kids in most schools don't learn anything about physical fitness or lifting. They used to have weightlifting classes you could take. And again, I'm not going to get into how good they were. Some of them, I guess, were decent, and phys ed teachers, phys ed is a joke, even if you have phys ed in high school anymore. It's a joke. Whoever could be a phys ed teacher. Imagine you had a halfway decent, charismatic trainer in there that knew half the shit you should know, but had charisma and could at least translate healthy movement into fun activities for kids. Imagine how kids would love phys ed then. But again, that's not important. And then you wonder why kids are out of shape. And kids have health problems. And kids are this and that. It's because we're not teaching them young. And then as an adult, it's twice as hard.
Gets worse.
Me being a trainer, I'm telling you, nothing's worse than trying to tell people how to live their life. And that's basically what I have to do. That's unfortunately my job. I have to tell people how to live. And what's the one thing people don't like people doing? Is telling them how to live. Even if they're paying me for it. They don't like hearing it. At all. So that's always the fun part of being a trainer, everyone. Is you don't know that. We deal with helping people and all that, but we deal a lot of times with the bad side of everybody, and that's fine. That's why we love doing it. We're there to try to turn it around. But again, I'm going to get off on a side tangent again. My gosh, today. Look, people, I'm going to wrap this up. And we can get into it deeper about how to program a little more in another episode. But if you want to have a successful goal reached, and then I want to shoot it to you, Tom, because I always like to get your thoughts on whatever I'm talking about, because I tend to ramble. I think everybody should first have their main goal of what they want to achieve. Then they need to think about what little steps they need to do to get to that big goal, and have them be little goals. And then you could even cut that down even smaller and think, what behavioral changes can I make to achieve those small goals that will achieve my main goal? So you sit on it for a while and you think, and if you really want to be successful, you break out a fucking piece of paper like a Neanderthal and you write the shit down. Or whatever, or you do it with a laptop, but you keep track of that shit and you figure it out. And then once you have that, either you, if you have the knowledge enough, or go to a trainer. Again, going to a trainer doesn't mean I'm committing to the next 7 years of my life. Going to a trainer, at least a halfway decent one, can be, I want to work with you for a month, 2 months, 3 months, learn how to move, learn a program for you, and go do it. And then I'm going to go do it on my own. I'm not going to see you for a while. Then maybe I'll come back when I need it in 6 weeks to 2 months, and I'll work with you again for a couple weeks, a month, or 2 months, whatever you want. You got to listen and see how well you work with the program. Because again, at the beginning, the program is getting shifted a little bit. Some changes have to be made in the beginning. It's not perfect right out the gate. But if you were able to do that, you wouldn't be spending $1 million sticking with the trainer and making that long-term commitment, but you'd be doing it right. Just like you go to a doctor when you're sick, they tell you the regimen to go on to feel better. A good trainer should be giving you that. Again, there's trainers that specialize in bodybuilding and physique and all that, and that's what they're good at, and that's what their profession is. But for regular people, they need a trainer that is a professional in making a person move good, feel good, live long. That's what should be the main fucking thing. That's it. Tom, please, your thoughts.
Yeah, I just think that small goals lead to bigger goals, and you have to take it one day at a time. That's all I could really say.
Yeah, I think I pretty much hit the whole fucking shebang.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, and
well,
again,
yeah, you have to gain, and you gain momentum over time and stuff like that. But there's different things that you want to see what works for you. Obviously, not everything works for everybody. Everybody's different. Everybody's genetics are different, so you can't change that.
Absolutely.
So there's certain things you're going to react to, and certain things you're not going to react to. Nutritionally as well. There's certain people that, they start increasing carbohydrates to a certain extent or whatever, and it works for them. There's some that do it and it doesn't work as well for them, maybe because of their activity level or their workout regimen or whatever.
Not
digesting it correctly, but not even talking about allergies. That's a whole other ball game.
Look for our past
certain
episodes
things where you're just
that.
like, yeah, you can't take everything. There's no black and white for anything. Things have to be tailor made for you because your genetics alone. And that includes
it is called personal training, right?
Yeah. Because the most people think, oh, this is working for everybody, so it's going to work for me. It's like that's not always true. So most of the time, it's not true at all.
Right, exactly, bro.
Now, there's there may be good principles, like similar to what Bruce Lee said or Jeet Kune Do, where he said, absorb what is useful. And I feel like that's what MMA is today. It's that philosophy that should apply to all things in life. You should always absorb what is useful and discard what isn't. And, the truth will reveal itself. You'll know, like, not just the scale, but even the mirror will tell you, like, that's not working for me. You know what I mean? There's times when I've, gone beyond certain things where it's like, this has stayed its course. I saw the benefits from it at first, but it's not really working for me for where I want to be. And then, you have to scale it back, or like you said, 4 to 6 weeks is actually it's a good amount of time to figure out if it's for you or not, or even still, okay, I got what I needed out of it. Now it's time to move to a different phase to get to where I want to get to. That's it.
Right. It's an ever evolving thing, man. It's ever evolving.
Yeah.
All the time, dude. All the time. That's the beauty about having a professional helping you. It really, if you don't know what you're doing, it really is a stress to try to figure this shit out because you're getting bombarded everywhere with drink this, do this. Here's another piece of equipment. This is going to be your answer. You don't have to go to the gym. Just use this thing. This is all you need. I mean, we've covered a lot of this stuff. I mean, you have knowledge. I have knowledge. A lot of people don't. And they're just whatever. They just go with it. They're just, oh, that guy seems smart. That guy's in shape. He knows what he's talking about. And it's a shame. And it sucks. And I wish it was different. And that's what realistic fitness is all about, bro. It's the Jeet Kune Do of personal training, dude.
Yeah.
I've learned from physical therapists, chiropractors that I've gone to, I've observed, I've watched them, and I've seen what works, and I've seen the carryover, and I see how the body works, and I put this together in what I do, and it helps people. People feel better, and it's not super difficult. It's hard to master. It's not hard to learn. And it doesn't take a bunch of your life. And you don't need a gym. You can do it at home if your goals are small. And I consider getting out of pain and moving better small goals. So yeah, everybody, if you want to really get your goals, especially you young guys out there, stop watching all these idiots on, God bless them. They look great. They work hard, but they're on shit. They're taking shit.
They're absolutely on gear. Yeah.
And when they're 50 and they have there's no lead in their pencil at all when they're in their 50s and 60s, they're going to regret it. So if you want to keep going well into your 80s, don't mess with the shit because it's going to suck your testosterone dry and you're going to need to be on something to just be normal. And That's
Yep.
programming. That's being smart, and that's get real.
Get real.